Welcome back, my friends. This is Walgers General Services in Las Vegas, and I'm your Uncle Brian. Kind of everybody's Uncle Brian. Now today, I'm going to show you how to clean your air conditioning condenser, kind of like one of these here. And as always, I'm going to show you the easy way, I'm going to show you the right way, and yes, I'm going to show you the Walgers way. One thing you always want to do is keep the area around your condenser clean. So before I begin, I'm going to remove all these weeds. And before doing any work, make sure to disconnect the power to the AC unit. Safety first. Now within eyesight of the condenser, you'll have a disconnect, which should look something like this. Just pull the fuse block out, and since you're going to be spraying water in the area, close the cover as a precaution, because the connections inside here are still live. Now, you can always switch off the breaker, but this is a little easier since it's within sight of the AC unit. The first step in cleaning your coils is you need to get access to the inside. And to do that, you can just remove these 5/16 inch sheet metal screws that run along the top. Now, some of them have a fan that's screwed down from the top, and you can remove the screws from that, then the fan will lift out and flip over. This one, it's all integrated within the top. So we're going to remove these screws all the way around. To do that, a 5/16 inch nut driver works well. These ones are slotted. You can use a flat blade screwdriver if you don't have a nut driver. But because I'm a little impatient, I'm going to use a power driver with a 5/16 inch nut driver on the end. Now this is fine to remove them, but when you put it back together, use your nut driver or screwdriver. Don't use a drill or a driver. These are just sheet metal screws. It's very thin sheet metal. It's very easy to over tighten them and strip them out. You're also going to need some spray foam cleaner for coils and a garden hose. You're also probably going to want a shop vac, which comes in real handy. And I got one right off camera over there, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get this top off, and we'll go from there. When removing the top, be very careful. You don't want to damage the motor or the blades of the fan, and you need somewhere to set the top on because it's going to be hardwired in. So be careful when you lift it off, you don't rip those wires out. So luckily, mine's close enough to the wall, I can just kind of lean it up against the wall, and we're good to go. Next thing you want to do is clean out the inside. So you can see there's a lot of debris in the bottom, a lot of needles and stuff from trees, leaves. You're going to find a lot of stuff down here. We're just going to go ahead and use a shop vac and suck it all out. Be careful while vacuuming out, because you're going to have some wires and their connections in here, so be careful not to knock them loose. Just get the loose stuff out right now. The next step is to spray off the coils with the cleaner. And you want to saturate the coil assemblies. Just make sure to read the label of the brand that you're using for any special instructions or warnings they may have. Now, most types will tell you to keep from spraying it on the wires and their connections. Other than that, just saturate all the areas. Once you finish spraying the inside, do the same on the outside of the coils. It'll probably take you one can for the inside and another can for the outside. Unless you got some really nasty coils, then you might need some extra. Now after you sprayed the inside and outside thoroughly, let it set for a few minutes so it can work its magic. Now this one has a little brush on the top of the cap. Be very careful. Try not really to brush the fins as much as possible. If you do, go in the direction of the fins, because you don't want to bend these fins, because that'll restrict your airflow. So just be very careful. If you have a heavy spot and you need to scrub it, just make sure you go in the direction of the fins. Okay? Otherwise, we'll let it set for a couple minutes. We're going to come back. We're going to take a garden hose. And we're going to spray it out. We're going to start from the inside. We're going to spray it outwards. And we'll spray the whole thing in. We'll clean up the bottom. And we'll spray the outside. When you're spraying it down with the hose, be careful not to damage the fins by hitting it with the hose nozzle. And using the settings such as jet may create too much pressure. Now on this nozzle, the shower setting does a great job. It puts out a lot of water, but not at a high pressure. Remember, all you're doing is rinsing off the coil cleaner that you just applied. Now that's one pretty looking unit. Now you may need to use your shop vac just to suck out some of that extra water that may be hanging out in the bottom. Now that everything's nice and clean, you can put your cover back on. Just be careful putting it down. You don't damage your unit. Line it up properly and put your screws in. Once it's all back together, go ahead and put your disconnect back in. Now, just a few tips before I go. But first, if you like the content I'm putting out there, it's greatly appreciated if you click that thumbs up like button down below and subscribe to my channel. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and I won't be calling you or emailing you or trying to sell you an extended warranty on your car or anything. I mean, it just lets me know that what I'm doing is helpful, and it makes it easier for you to find other videos that I put out there. Now, a couple quick tips. First of all, don't shut off your unit just at the thermostat. Either pull the disconnect that is near the unit or turn off the breaker. You also want to wear some safety glasses because that cleaner can bounce back and get into your eyes, and you don't want that. Gloves and a respirator or mask may be desirable if you find the fumes a little overpowering. And don't use a pressure washer when cleaning the coils. The water pressure is too high and it's going to bend those fins. You need to keep those fins straight to provide enough airflow to cool down the coolant in the lines. Those little thin fins, they absorb the heat from the coil lines and help remove that heat faster and easier through dissipation. And remember, the water is just to rinse off. It's not to do any of the cleaning. That's what the spray coil cleaner is for. And finally, when you spray the cleaner, try to spray straight at the fins and not at an angle. You want that cleaner to get in between the fins where a lot of the dirt and buildup is located. And this is especially important if you have 2 rows of coils. Now mine was just 1 row, but some have 2 rows and they're side by side, very close together, so you can't get between them. That's why you want to make sure that you're getting that cleaner in there as well as you possibly can. The same goes true when you're hosing it off. Get the water down in there. That's it. Enjoy your nice clean AC unit, which will thank you by running better and lasting longer. And with the cost to replace one hovering at $10,000 or more, this cheap and simple maintenance can save you thousands of dollars. Plus, it'll give you a lot more years of service out of it. Now, while you're sitting there enjoying your nice cold house, here's a couple other videos that make your life a little bit easier. And don't forget, I have Wagers merchandise now available, which I'll put a link to down below, along with any links for tools and materials used in this video. And once again, thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And this is your Uncle Brian saying, I'll see you in the next video.